All right, everyone, here we are at our final lesson of the year on angles, and actually our final lesson in general for fourth grade math. Yay! Today we're going to learn about solving for unknown angles. So I have an angle here, actually I have a couple angles, and the question is, how can we use algebraic thinking, okay, which should look very familiar, to help us solve for the unknown angle? So let's just take a quick second and talk about all the different things we see here. So these rays here are my big angle, my whole angle. And the 100 degrees here represents this angle here. I'm outlining in purple. Okay, that's 100 degrees. There's a ray coming out, okay, from the middle of this angle here. And that's, as we learned in our last lesson, how we can decompose and compose angles or separate them and join them. So this is, decomposing this large angle into two smaller ones. So here is 42 degrees, and then I have an x. So I don't know how many degrees this portion of the angle was broken up into. So how can we use algebraic thinking to help us figure this out? So if the question is, what is the value of angle x, this one here, I went ahead and I set up a little algebraic problem to help us solve. So we know that if we combine x and 42 degrees, we'll get the total 100 degrees. So that's what my equation here is. X plus 42 degrees equals 100 degrees. So what's an easy way for us to figure out what x would be? Right, we can do the opposite operation and we can subtract. So if we took 100, if we take away the angle that we already know, the 42 degrees, then what we have left over will be our x. So just borrow here. So 10 minus 2 is 8, and 9 minus 4 is 5. So the leftover amount after we took away the 42 degree angle is 58. So the answer of what is the value of angle x is 58 degrees. And we can always check if we were to take 58 and add 42, like I have here. 8 plus 2 is 10. Regroup. 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. We get 100. So that's pretty easy, right? Just as simple as using the opposite operations to help us solve for the missing angle. Now, sometimes you might have to use some prior knowledge. You're, expected to understand certain things that we've already learned, in geometry and about angles. So here we have another angle, another problem. And you're probably thinking, well, I only see one number and I need at least two numbers to be able to solve for the missing angle. And you're right. They actually have given you two numbers, okay? So here we have our large angle. It's been split into two sections, and we know that this area here is 55 degrees. So this angle is 55 degrees. Oops, my arrow's kind of off. And we don't know what this angle here, we're going to call this angle B. Okay, this is the one we need to solve for. And then there's no other number. But you're expected to understand what this represents. This little square in the corner means that the entire angle is 90 degrees. That's right. So we actually do have the other number that we need. And so we know that if we took 55 degrees, and if we add the measurement of angle B, that if we add those two amounts together, we would get the 90 degrees that create this right angle. So what this is a decomposed right angle. So again, we can just simply do the opposite operation. We can take the 90 degrees, we could subtract the 55, and what we have remaining will be the value of angle B. So again, we'll just do a quick regroup. 10 minus 5 is 5, and 8 minus 5 is 3. So angle B then would measure 35 degrees. And if we add those together, 35 plus 55, it does equal 90. All right, let's do one more like this. So we are expected to understand, that the little square represents a 90-degree angle, and a straight line is a straight angle, and a straight angle measures 180 degrees, right? So if you see a straight line and they don't give you, the measurement, then it's understood that it would be 180 degrees. And again, we have one portion that's been split in two has been labeled, the other is not. Okay, that's a variable that we need to solve for. So if we have 60 plus the measurement of angle A, we would get 180 degrees. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out what A equals. All right, let's see how you did. So hopefully you subtracted, hopefully you subtracted 60 from the 180, and you should have gotten 120 degrees for angle A. If we add these back together, we would get the total 180 degrees of the straight angle. So we've seen how we can solve for, one missing angle, and we've seen how we can solve, even if we're not given all the numbers, just based off of our knowledge of angle measurements. Sometimes, though, you may be given a problem that looks like this. So we have, our original angle here, angle CDG, but it hasn't just been split into two angles, it's actually been broken down into three. All right, and so remember we talked about having adjacent angles, the angles that share one of the rays, all right? And so these are all adjacent, they are attached to each other, and we have several measurements here. And so let's just kind of break this down. So we have our large angle, and that measurement is given to us by this arc. Okay, I have a little color coded to make it a little bit easier to see. So this entire angle measures 160 degrees. Okay, now we have angle CDE, they've given us that measurement, it's 43 degrees. We have angle EDF, and that's one we're missing. Okay, it's X, so we're gonna have to solve for that one. But they did also give us angle FDG, which is 65. So this is going to take a couple of steps in order to solve. And what I recommend, there are a couple of choices, okay? And what I recommend is combining the amounts that are given and then subtracting it from the total. So before we get started with that, though, let's go ahead and write our equation. So we know that if we add 43 degrees plus the value of X plus 65 degrees, that we would get the total amount of our large angle CDG, which is 160 degrees. Okay? And so like we've been doing before, using the reverse operation or the opposite operation, and the opposite of addition is subtraction. So what you could do is you actually could take 160 and you could subtract the 43, and then you could subtract the 65, or the other way around. You could do those two steps. But like I said, what I actually like to do is I like to go ahead and I like to combine my 65 and my 43. So if I were to do that, 43 plus 65, 108. So I could rewrite this as X plus 108 equals 160. All right, and so that's kind of, my first step in my multi-step problem. And now it's as easy as just subtracting the 108. So once I do that, quick regroup. Okay, 10 minus 8 is 2. 5 minus 0 is 5. And 1 minus 1 leaves me with nothing. So my remaining amount after I've subtracted the value of the other two angles is 52 degrees. So 52 degrees is what I get for the value of x. Now obviously if I want to check this, okay, I would just add it with my other angles. And I'm actually going to just go ahead and re-add everything just so that I am thoroughly checking my work. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. And then I know 6 plus 4 is 10. Plus 5 is 15. 16. So I do get 160 degrees as my total. So it does check out. So that is it. That's how we can solve for unknown angles. Okay. And that's, you know, using our knowledge of the value of right angles and straight angles if we're not given that number. And it's also using our algebraic thinking and just, you know, understanding how we can compose and decompose angles. So like I said, all year, everything always ends up coming together to help us, you know, complete these skills. Your assignment today is to complete the 2 worksheets titled Adjacent Angles that will be posted. And after that, we are done. We're going to be starting our review for the end of the year. So you guys are doing a great job. Super proud of you all. Keep it up. We're almost there. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.